Welcome to the Bear Pit Pod. We're back. Didn't go as planned, did it? That first game?
It ticked so many boxes for worst case scenario. That Saturday performance, it really did. It was an absolute shocker.
Yeah, it wasn't
absolute shocker.
It wasn't the start we had planned.
It didn't. It frustratingly felt like last season never even ended. It kind of just seemed the kind of all the ill thoughts and negative vibes from last season just seamlessly slid into this season in 1 hour's time into play. There was a bit of a spark before the game started, but that was banished.
Didn't last too long.
Banished quickly.
Didn't last too long. Before we do get into this, obviously, we are sponsored by FansBet, which are our new partner. If you bet with them, if you're having a bet at the weekend, make sure to sign up via them. Make sure you quote Stoke City and the Bear Pit TV as your fan partner, and you'll help us out. You'll also help us to support the Dougie Mac Hospice. And they've also got, every week they're going to give us a special or so around Stoke or the match at the weekend. But obviously the Premier League kicks off this weekend, so I'm sure everyone's going to be having a bet on the Premier League. But if you want a Stoke special, they have got Sam Vokes to score and Stoke to win against Charlton. Fancy that? Like the sound of that, Craig?
I like the sound of it, whether it'll happen.
9-2, and then Sam Vokes to score the first or last goal, also 9-2. So make sure, if you want to have a bet on that, go and check out FansBet and their fan partner specials, or you're just having a bet on the Premier League, sign up through the Bear Pit, help us out, and then go and have a bet on whatever else. But yeah, to get into...
Should we do it then? Let's
get into it again.
We had one pod last week, that is, where we briefly had a kind of bit of positive vibes, didn't we?
Yep, it was really positive.
And the mighty Potters have come in and they've ruined it, as they generally do. They brought
Pretty
them
much.
right down to earth.
Let's go back to the lineup though.
Yeah.
And I think the preferred 11 we did almost had it spot on. We forgot the fact, and some people hammered us in the YouTube comments. Sorry, listen, we don't know it all. That Liam Lindsay had a one-match ban, which
somebody said in the comments, like, you really should know this.
Yeah, we probably should.
I felt a bit guilty,
but we did. But I think that was the only change.
That was the only change, and Collins came in instead. But it was the team, bar Ryan Shawcross, of course, that started the Leicester game. I think player for player, and it was the team that most fans would have gone for, but it wasn't necessarily the players that I felt didn't work. It was more, we're going to quote this word a lot in this podcast, but the diamonds.
The system, the formation.
The system is what I felt was our biggest undoing against QPR. Do you agree?
Yes, I have to. I think from what I'm going from what I saw with my own eyes, and that was that, as we'll get on to later in the game, we switched to wide players in a different formation, and it works really well.
Yeah,
created a lot more. We seemed a lot more fluid.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's still too early to judge.
I do agree with that. Because last season the Dan formation come under a little bit of criticism, but people didn't really pounce upon it because they thought they give Jones time to really bed it in, get some of his players involved in the system. And I do feel like it feels like the go-to weapon to beat Jones with at the moment is the system. And
the stick to beat.
Yeah, they're not going to be wrong. I saw holes in it, but I'm starting to get to the point now where I'm thinking, because it's that publicised about how poorly we played and how much press this Diamond's getting. I'm starting to I can't see the wood for the trees anymore. I'm not sure if it was that poor, if it was just a one-off poor game. Is the Diamond truly that ineffective? I mean, it's only 90 minutes, or it was 65 minutes at that before he changed it. I'm not ignoring the fact it was awful, the performance. Jones will not be scrapping the Diamonds yet. No chance. So we've just got to give him a little more time with it.
The initial question that arose from some fans was that Campbell didn't start. I know a lot of people were calling for that after his form in pre-season. We went with Afobe and Vokes. Vokes seemed very ineffective. He had that early on chance as well. One-on-one with the keeper.
Cumbersome. Vokes is weird. I defended Vokes a lot last year, and I said he will come good for us, but I can't defend that. He was the worst player on the pitch. I felt he was so ineffective. He looked unfit or injured. Something wasn't right with him. Because I hope to God, surely he wasn't just playing that poorly, because he was awful. Awful.
He was not great.
He didn't look fit to me.
No, he didn't.
Like physically, he looked like he put a bit of weight on. Am I just seeing that?
I saw
He looked
a
massive.
bit of unsharpness from a lot of players, and they're certainly not the animals that James has said they'd be. He said they'd be animals.
They just weren't.
They definitely weren't that.
He made Afobe look, I was going to say good, but better.
Yeah.
He's more accurate.
Well, we did go 1-0 down pretty early on, and it was through a Butland mistake. Not quite sure what he was doing, why he was chasing that ball out, as it was so clearly unneeded. And then they literally scooped it over him into the box, and Jordan Hugel had a tap-in between a few defenders.
Did you think that first goal that we conceded was any fault of the Diamond? Because I don't know where McLean was. Positionally, he was kind of like, there was no one there really. Maybe was Jack to a point forced to come out because of how exposed that flank was.
I can't remember everyone's positioning, but I can't pin it on that myself.
There was certainly cover. Cover was arriving, and I'll admit that Jack just did not need to come out that far. But when you see the way that ball, admittedly, it's a very good pass. But one pass just killed us. It completely, and that shouldn't happen. I don't care how good of a ball is played, it shouldn't be doing that to the defence midfield, and it just did.
After that, there was a few slight chances here and there. There was a free kick, what was put into the box. Clucas headed just wide. Nick Powell had a volley as well. We did have chances to get it back.
We did have chances, but I never felt that we were creating them sort of through good play. A dead ball's a dead ball, anything can happen. Nick Powell's chance, from what I remember, was a bit of a scramble in the box. The ball broke out to him.
He just sat up and he volleyed.
Yeah, we didn't create anything ourselves. It was just through maybe persistence or a little bit of looking around their box. They should have gone 2-0 up with a sitter of a header. They put wide as well.
Yeah, that should have been 2-0.
Yeah.
Easy chance. I've got no idea how I missed it with a free head. About 5 or 6 yards out. But in the second half, I don't know if you can pin this one on the Diamond, but our midfield was absolutely
it literally wasn't in shot. Was that quite? There's an image doing the rounds on Twitter and whatnot of that.
The gap.
The gap. I think it's Eze. He slipped the ball to him, and he's just got acres to run into. Admittedly, it was a great goal from that point onwards, and he did Collins, didn't he? Not the greatest challenge from Collins, but
and slotted it in.
But you should not be able to run from deep in the half right through on goal like that. There was nobody challenging him at all. That I can only assume is the fault of the Diamond. I don't know where Cousins was as well. I mean, to be fair, if he's meant to be the base of this formation, I don't know where he was.
He was nowhere. Cousins didn't have a great game.
He didn't have a good game. No one did really. After that point, I generally was fearing for the worst. I thought they could get another. We were that exposed. It's one of the ones that whenever we went forward, we looked absolutely outnumbered in every potential position. Whenever they broke, there was gaps everywhere. It just didn't work either way. That our players were just no way near the play at all.
And then there was a few subs. Gregory and Campbell came on, and this has been brought up a lot since, not only to this reaction, but the game in general. But you were there, weren't you? Yep. Boos for Afobe.
Yeah.
For him to coming off.
Yeah. Boos.
First day of the season.
Yeah. Absolute best ironic cheers that he went off, if we're being kind. But Afobe's quickly becoming the scapegoat, and the first game of the season, I did not like to see that. I thought he played poorly, but there's no way I'm booing him or ironically cheering him at all. I think that's just. This is what I said. I think I said this in the last podcast. The worst case scenario for me was that them sort of like bad vibes from the crowd would emerge in the first game of the season, and that's literally what happened. And that's the worst thing we can have. There's instant pressure on this squad now. I'm not denying that the players didn't give the fans much to cheer about, but to have this 65-70 minutes into the first game of the season, booing a player that's going off, it just doesn't bode well. I'm not defending Afobe's performance or anything like that.
It's just a bit poisonous at the minute.
Yeah, it is.
It seems like it's all carried on.
You can hear it. Honestly, it's absolutely replication of what we were experiencing towards the back end of last season. You know, that just, like you say, poisonous atmosphere around the ground. And you're waiting for when there's a misplaced pass, or there's a moment where a ball was not long to him, it was a good ball, and it was an awful touch from him. I'm not defending that. Right under his foot, he went out for a throw into them, and it was just like you just feel this tension. There was groans and moans and all sorts, and it was just like, well, you said it best, poisonous. It really was not a good atmosphere.
It's not what you want going into the first day of the season.
No.
At all. The other probably standout chance was the one at the end.
Danny Bat,
keeper's come out, completely misjudged it. It's gone over his head, and Danny Bat heads towards goal. No one around, and it just rolls wide.
Yeah, it was a shocker, really. Wasn't it? I think he was anticipating that the keeper was going to come and clatter him. I think he just completely got his body shape all wrong. It was a sitter. We played well in the last 15-20, but we didn't deserve to draw that. I think QPR were fairly dominant, 65-70 minutes, really.
No, I agree. I think they should have.
Didn't deserve to draw that.
Another thing that happened during the game is the one that felt quite obvious and makes me think more than ever that we need to go out and buy a left back is they targeted James McLean so much.
Hammered it, didn't they?
And someone said on Twitter, it's not hard to go after the player that isn't playing in his normal position. And I think that if he's going to be our first choice left back throughout the season, I'm really concerned because he's shown that he's not that great in that position.
He's not. Going forward, to be fair to McLean, I thought going forward he was reasonably effective against QPR.
He should be. That's his position.
Yeah, he got several crosses in and did it quite well down the line. But as you say, as a full-back, a left-back, terribly exposed all the time. The problem with the Diamond is, I think it's been often quoted, the full-back, that's the most important element of that whole formation to a point. But if you're going to utilise this formation, the fullbacks have got to be world class. They've got to be amazing. They've got to be some of the best fullbacks in the division, and one of them isn't even the left back at all. And it just doesn't work. We haven't got the players for it. I can see at the moment anywhere.
Yeah, it's difficult. It's really difficult. I mean, we've got Stephen Ward, but like I said, I don't think he's going to. He can play twice in a week with his injury past. I don't know. I just feel like we need to go out and buy at least.
Another thing that people have said is we had a perfectly good right back in place. Why wasn't that $4 million invested in a left back for Thomas Smith? That's not saying Thomas Smith's a bad player. I thought he was okay on Saturday, but it does seem a little bit short-sighted that we've had to scramble and put a midfielder in at left back. And now we went out and bought for the position we arguably were the best player in. Don't know.
Weird one.
Bizarre.
Do we have a best and worst?
Best.
Tommy Smith?
Smith was.
Oh, he did okay.
He did okay. I'd probably go with Vince, even though he had 20, 15 minutes.
Didn't have long, but he did look bright.
He looked bright when he come on. I thought Nick Powell showed brief glimpses of quality. Certainly the first half, where he kind of like dribbled around a few players.
A bit of a strange one to take off.
Yeah, I can't figure that one out. I'm not sure if he's injured.
From what I've seen today, because obviously they had the open training day today. I think I saw someone say on Twitter he was training alone in trainers, not boots.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if he's picked up a knock.
Which suggests he's injured, which is, well, I don't want him to be injured, but I thought he was reasonably bright. I was a bit shocked to see him go off, so I assume it was an injury. This is depressing to say, but I'm going to go with Vince, but I'm going to give a massive nod to Collins as well.
Yeah,
Collins was great. I mean, admittedly, he wasn't great for the goal, and you can't ignore that. And I did fail to see that initially till I rewatched the goals back. I'm going to go with Tom Ince, which is a bit depressing, but with a big nod to Collins. Because 18-19, first full 90 minutes in a decent standard of football championship. He's going to be some player. He really, really is going to be some player, and that was the only real positive to come from the game. Worst, I think it was Vokes.
Yeah, Vokes was non-existent.
He was shocking.
He was absolutely non-existent.
He might as well not been on the pitch. He was really, really anonymous. Awful.
I'm fine with those rankings.
Yeah,
I'll take them.
Yeah,
I'll take them. Now we move on to transfer news, etc. Today, so to say. I'm sorry. Before we do move on. I saw this all over Twitter as well. The club eventually did a refund, but the streaming broke again for most people. I don't know what we're doing.
What happened with it now?
I think it just didn't work for a lot of the first half.
Has it been outsourced now to a third party?
I don't know what's going on, but the club refunded everyone. So, like we said, everyone jokes about it and has a laugh, but it is so bad. It is so bad. All the overseas fans, like my mum and dad, just every single week almost just can't watch it. and they're paying for it 145. I think a quid it is now for the season ticket.
So they claim back for the whole season ticket in one, or they just sack it out forwards a game by game?
Just get the game. Anyway, news from today: Bojan,
he's gone, hasn't he?
Gone after 5 years at the club.
It sounds weird thinking 5 years. It doesn't feel like 5 years.
Oh, yeah, he's been on loan for 2.
Yeah, we've not really seen much from this past 2.5, have we? Really?
Arguably instrumental in some of the best football ever seen at the club. That peak time of Stoke Alona with Shaqiri, Arnautovic, Afellay and Sonzi, all the crew. Beating Manchester United, Manchester City at home, Everton away 4-3 game. Spring to mind his goals against Tottenham, Shrewsbury, Arsenal. The game against Arsenal, where he was absolutely one of the best individual performances I've seen of someone in a Stoke shirt. I'd like to say he'd be missed, but Nathan Jones wasn't going to use him anyway by the looks of things.
It's a weird one, because I fully agree with your sentiment of how good he was during that Stoke loan and all that sort of stuff, and he really was, but how many managers is that now that have just said, have not included him? And I don't know, lightning can't strike 4 times, or how many managers it's been. Something clearly wasn't working behind the scenes, and I don't think we quite know the realities of Bojan's mentality. So something wasn't right. Something wasn't right. It's gutting he's gone, but I think most people, even those that think he's the best thing since sliced bread, acknowledge that it was time for him to go, and I do as well.
He's gone. He left a message as well to all the final. The final before he goes, and he says, "As my time as a Stoke player comes to an end for good today, I can't help but look back on all the good times I've had here, and which will always have a special place in my memory and heart. I've had the privilege of playing for the club in the Premier League and enjoying some of the memorable wins, as well as scoring against the likes of Liverpool, Manchester United, Manchester City, Tottenham and Arsenal, which are without doubt some of the best memories of my career. However, the most important thing for me is to thank the fans for their constant support during my time at the club. The Potters fans were always there in both the good and the bad times to offer me their affection, something which I'll really value and that I'll never forget. And I'd like to say goodbye in another way, but sometimes you don't get to choose how things work out. One thing for sure is that Stoke will always be one of the most special places for me. Thank you, Potters fans." Oh, tearing up?
Not really. I think it's run its course. Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
you are much loved, but I think it's been drawn out, this exit, hasn't it, really?
Yeah, I'm tearing up, Craig.
Oh yeah. Who was it? I was thinking this today. He started at home last year, didn't he? Towards the end, and played amazing. Arguably the man of the match.
Last game of the season.
No, it wasn't against Sheffield United. It was. Who was it now? He started at home. It was 0-0. We drew.
I know which game you mean, because he came on and he was the brightest player on the pitch.
Was it Sheff Wednesday? I think it was Sheff Wednesday at home. And we did a podcast after that, and I thought, for all this kind of like he's going to disappear at Stoke, there's a brief glimmer that we might.
If he keeps that up, he'll be it. At the top of that diamond next season.
Yeah,
he looks bright. Never happened.
It was dashed. It was never really seen again.
Ever.
Thank you for the memories, Bojan.
Yeah,
good luck with whatever you go on to.
Well, apparently he's off to the MLS, which will be an interesting one. Yeah. We've got 3 days, Craig, until the window shuts. The Gale link seems dead.
West Brom, if anything, I get the impression that the
front
runners for that one now.
West Brom on loan, Leeds are also after him. Apparently, it was funny because we said on this podcast last week that there was no actual news links. And then one came out a day or so after that saying that we backed away from 15 million and his wages, apparently, that we couldn't afford. That came from the Newcastle Chronicle. I don't think it's a case of we can't afford. I think it's more of a case of FFP, which we're quite wary of at the moment. But that link came, and then the one that said West Brom were after him back on loan, although Steve Bruce is looking to keep him there, which I don't think he'd like to stay there. They've just signed Joe Linton. They've got Almiron. They've just signed St Maxime as well. So they look quite bolstered in the strike force now.
I could see him going back to West Brom on loan, to be honest.
Yeah,
I just don't think Newcastle want him on the wage, but I think he will go. Whether we're willing to stick a neck out, I don't know. But I do think he'll be in the Championship this season. And my gut tells me it's going to be West Brom again.
Like we say, this is going out on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It closes on Friday. There's still time. What else do you want to see? Do you want to see a left back?
I think we have to, after what we saw on Saturday. Because like you say, the only other option at left back is Ward, whose injury kind of history is not great for a long season in the Championship. McLean isn't a left back. Even if we change the formation to flat 4-4-2, McLean is not a left back. So we're pretty desperate in that position. It depends what formation you go. I still look at our squad and I think if we play the right formation, we've got decent depth all over the place. That's why it's so difficult to say we need to strengthen. You could say striker. I still think we're a little bit lacking with out-and-out wingers, but again, if we're not playing a flat 4 in the middle, it doesn't really matter if Jones isn't going to go with that. The biggest priority has got to be a left back though. After that, every position is arguably as weak as the next one, if that makes sense. Not to say they're all weak, but do you know what I mean? There's no real kind of big... I don't know, it's all much for muchness after that. Over to Jones, because I don't know.
An striker we've been linked with as well, after the Gale link seemed to go downhill. It's Connor Wickham. Don't like that.
I don't think he's anything too drastically different to what we've got. And the problem isn't who we've got up front, it's how we get the ball, supplying them. I think I saw someone quote on Twitter that they don't think Gale will get more than 10 in a Stoke shirt anyway because of the lack of service. I think that's a tad over the top, but I certainly appreciate the sentiment. I don't think striker's the problem, I think it's the formation.
Agreed.
Yeah.
To sort out before Friday, Ndai, stay or go. Etebo, who I think will stay, but he's still not back yet.
He's not, is he? He wasn't at the opening training today, which is a tad worrying.
Hopefully he's coming back because
it's a bit worrying, isn't it? I did see a few people starting to get a little bit nervy that he's just kind of disappeared from conversation, and that would be an absolute disaster to lose him in the 11th hour. But I assume he's just recovering from the African Cup of Nations, and that's it.
Back now.
Touch wood.
The other one, Bruno, could go.
Bruno, as I said last week, if the opportunity comes, he needs to go. I just think let's draw a line under that one, get him off the wage bill.
And the latest link which came today was Axel to Nzabi from Man United. Apparently we inquired about a loan, but he wanted to stay and fight for his place. After having a pretty successful season last year at Aston Villa on loan and getting promoted, he would have been probably the cover that we need if Bruno's going to leave and Shawcross is out. But that looks like that's also dead in the water.
So other than that, it's pretty sound, isn't it? I honestly do not have a clue what positions we're going to target. I wouldn't be stupidly shocked if nothing else happens now.
There's got to be.
What position do you think we're going to target though?
Other than left striker.
But do you think I'm correct in what I'm saying? That I feel like the striker at the moment it's a tad irrelevant because we're not getting the ball up there anyway.
Maybe.
We created nothing. We put as bad as Vokes was, and I'm not excusing that. I don't think we put in anything for him to work with, crosswise, all game.
It's going to be interesting times, put it that way. Like I say, 3 days left. Hopefully we can get something done. Hopefully we get a few new faces in. Because we haven't spent 4 million. I think that's
4 million, 2 million on Lindsay as well. So yeah, we've not spent too much.
Recouped a little bit here and there. Nothing too special, nothing much. Probably get a fee for Ndai, not too much because again we've let his value plummet. God knows. Bruno 3 or 4 maybe. If you count them, we've spent 1 or 2 million.
I know
total. Then all the free signings.
Yeah.
Hopefully we get something done, some business done. Lastly, before we get into the people's questions, this weekend just gone, QPR game marked the last ever oatcake.
Which is an absolute tragedy.
Sad.
It's heartbreak. I've been reading that for as long as we're going Stoke.
Stoke City institution.
It really is. Yeah.
I always remember reading it. My dad always brought it. Was Me and Ma Lady? Was that in there, or was that the Sentinel? There was always a comic strip. I can't remember which.
You always had a comic strip. They had loads in there. They had Hard Bastard comic strip.
I remember Hard Bastard.
The Burslem Boys. There was the fella that used to play for Stoke Reserves in the 70s, Frank something or other. There was loads. I absolutely love them comic strips. As a kid, that's what I was
Me and Ma Lady's the Sentinel, but I remember Hard Bastard definitely.
Hard Bastard's great, yeah.
You're a little older than me, so you remember more probably.
I mean, Dad's got
My dad's got
hundreds of
stacks.
things. They're everywhere.
Stacks.
I'd say the tragedy, after buying him for as long as I can remember, we didn't get one the last day. They sold out everywhere. Couldn't get near it.
Yeah, apparently they're doing orders.
They
as
are.
well.
For those that don't know, actually, because I emailed them, if you go on the OK Twitter page, there's an email address where you can request a copy, and I did that, and luckily they said they're going to get some new ones out. I paid for a couple to be sent to me flat, so I will get one eventually. But yeah, it's a shame we couldn't get one on the last ever match day to flip through in the
sold
stands.
out pretty quick.
Yeah.
Apparently. But that was a sign, and they've quoted a lot of things like the magazine takes the form of the Bear Pit, or all these online platforms there is now to discuss and speak about Stoke.
There's still something about going to the game and
having the physical thing in your hand that you can read.
I really miss that, because I don't know who's buying the programme, because I find the programme's generally boring. There's nothing insightful in there that I find, but the OK was great. It will be sorely missed. So you've got to say thanks to Martin Smith and the team that have kind of worked on it for the past 30 odd years, because
I was going to say, to keep it running that long. They also won Fanzine of the Year one year, which obviously is a testament to the brand that they were creating. They were very out there, one of the first out there, pushing boundaries. The suicide pills joke wouldn't be allowed nowadays.
No chance, yeah.
But
no chance.
Glad they did it. And I think all Stoke fans will always be thankful for the OK, and I'm sure it will be missed. 100%.
I'm gutted they never got onto an online platform, to be honest. I mean, I know
they got the OK,
but that's
not really.
as Martin Smith has said, I don't think they don't have much ownership of the website, the message board, the OK. I think it just bears its name, but it's a shame their articles couldn't exist in online form, to be honest, because they're amazing. There's some really good kind of writers that contribute towards the OK, and I don't know where they're going, but I'd like to think they'll pop up somewhere, because they were great.
Like a digital version.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe they just couldn't be asked. I don't know.
You never know.
I don't know.
Let's get on to the people's questions.
This will be happy.
I'm sure it will.
And positive.
Ashley Bow Bennett says, do you think Jones has got what it takes for us to finish as a top half playoff team? Personally, I think he does, and I think he will definitely get better with him. I would be happy with mid-table this year, as long as Tyrese, Edwards, Collins and Verlinden get plenty of game time.
See, I wouldn't be happy with mid-table. If we finish mid-table, the season's a failure, in my opinion. I think, I keep looking at our squad, what we spent last year, and who we brought in this summer. I'd be extremely disappointed if we're not challenging for the playoffs as an absolute minimum.
Yeah, I want to have some excitement. I don't want to be drifting around mid-table with nothing to play for. Nicholas Johnson says, is promotion really realistic, or are we just basing our current hopes on our past status? We were arguably the worst performing team this weekend and look a million miles away from teams like Leeds and West Brom.
I don't know. Is it realistic? It's very difficult to say after one game, but collectively, when you look at Jones' time from start to now, not much has changed. I can appreciate the sentiment that we're not looking likely candidates at the moment, but I just hope things turn around rapidly. Because they have to, don't they?
Alexander Gibson, fickle fans not understanding how one game doesn't define a club's season, but how they overreact to a player's performance. Honestly think we will play better away than at home. I
do agree with that. I mean, I agree that the fan booing and all that stuff was just like bang out of order, but what I don't agree with that sentiment is that the one game thing, because I think fans are remembering the back end of last season as well, and they're seeing so many worrying similarities between the two. I think that's where the booing came from, that nothing has changed all summer. We looked as poor, if not worse, than we did last year.
Just a massive tea trolley flying past.
So I understand where the frustration come from. I think 99.9% of the fans weren't frustrated because it was one sole bad performance. They were collectively grouping Jones' tenure as a whole. But then the flip side, I appreciate we need just to give him a little more time before we really chuck a toys out the pram.
Agree. Geordie of Suburbia, are we not giving QPR enough credit? We were awful, but they've got a good manager and made good signings.
The first game of the season, it's difficult, isn't it? I mean, there's a massive question mark around QPR. Some are quoting their, relegation candidates. Some are saying upper mid-table. Others are even quoting that they could push playoffs just because of the manager, who's highly regarded. So time will tell. It's difficult to answer that one really in and now, but time will tell.
The big Nathan says, would you try Edwards at left back if Nathan wants to keep Smith at right back? Did we try that once?
I don't know. I'd be half tempted if we don't get a proper left back in. I'd be half tempted. I mean, it's difficult, isn't it? How easy is it for someone a right foot to adapt? If we are doing that, it's a worry because obviously something's not worked.
It's not right.
Yeah.
Dom says, why do we have the most impatient fans in the world?
I think
we are impatient, and I do think, the booing or jeering of Afobe and the rest of the team is wrong, 100%. But I also think, fuck me, we've not had much to.
We've not. We've had 2.5 years of like a steep decline.
Shit. Just absolute shit.
Yeah.
So I see both ways. I don't think we should be booing and jeering players, but I can understand why some fans are.
Yeah. I understand where the frustration lies, but I don't agree with vocalising it to that extent at this moment.
Yeah. We should all be just behind the team for
at least for a month.
Yeah. for a while.
Yeah.
Just get some faith.
And then fill your boots, but just give it a month.
Harrison says Greg's is getting takeaway. Are you excited? Yes.
Yeah, I suppose.
Ordering a few sausage rolls and all that.
It just seems a little bit long-winded for sausage roll. That does.
There is a few absolutely people who look like they're ready to end it, such as Santiago Dangerfield, who says, is there any point in football anymore? And Sean, who says, will we ever win again? But Lee says, why did you, I mean, we're not picking the team, but why did you play Vokes and Afobe up front in the last game and play Campbell and Gregory from now on? Because that didn't make that much sense.
I think basically, why did we choose Vokes and Afobe, not Campbell and Gregory? I mean, it's the first game of the season, no one really knows the reality. That's clearly the team that he's been focusing on all season, which was shown with the Leicester friendly. So we were purely going off the notion of what the manager had been seeing and was probably going to put faith in. Really?
Yeah, agree. Adam Kate Jack Bertie says, custard slice or scone? This question is also for Charlie Adam.
Probably a custard slice. They're a bit messy, but they're nice.
Neither. Don't do desserts.
Do you know?
No.
Do you know?
Also, the same person says, can Craig please explain his praise of Charlie Adams' shape and fitness when, after many months of being unfit for us, with little fat defenders running rings around him, when he is out of contract with no match fitness, Charlie Adam manages to get in good shape, fit, and find a new club. Where was Charlie when we needed him, apart from sitting on his arse on TalkSport? What another disgraceful player who was unprofessional to our club and fans. Please forgive his skills and quality when his lack of fitness prevailed for longer at Stoke City. Thank you.
I said that last week, didn't I? He looked a lot trimmer.
Yeah.
Now he's at Reading. I mean, yeah, no, it's a good. I can't explain it now because I don't know Charlie personally. But it is frustrating because I do think there's a decent footballer in there if you can kind of get him in good shape, and he's decided for whatever reason to do it for Reading, but not for us towards the latter part of his Stoke career. Yeah, a little bit frustrating. I can't explain it there.
Let's have a look. Everyone is going on.
There's much mentions of Joe Allen.
There's a few saying about he's a netless chicken.
We've not mentioned Joe Allen yet, have we?
He
got a bit slaughtered, didn't he?
He did get slaughtered. Let's get on to the Instagram questions. Sorry, Facebook, but we've all sort of answered yours. What was Butland doing, says Adam Ratter, SCFC. We've sort of gone into that.
It was a fuck up one, isn't it? No excusing it. It was
a big fuck up. And I saw a lot of Villa fans, by the way, on Twitter saying, thank God. They got hit in the end.
Yeah.
They're saying, thank God, after that.
His stock has dropped for the floor, hasn't it?
Again, so many about the diamond.
What's the general question about diamond? What should we play it? Is it shit? Is it good? What are people generally getting at regarding it?
A lot of people are just saying ditch it. It seems obvious we can't play it, says Josephine Hill. Daniel Tapley says, do you believe in the diamond and is it the way forward? I do not. Ashley Gould says, ditch the diamond, keep it simple, 4-4-2. Joe Allen should be running the show in the Championship, but he looks puzzled. A lot of people do not like this diamond. Does it change though when Etebo comes back?
Slightly, but I still think both Klukas and Allen as the centre midfielders in the diamond, you've still got one there, even with Etebo in, that doesn't suit it, be that Allen or Klukas. I think it'll probably be Allen and Etebo. I don't think it changes it enough. I think you need quicker full-backs and two Etebos, or at least two players of similar energy and strength to Etebo. So no.
SXM Bomb and Harrison Burton say it was just a bad game. Why is everyone so negative? It's a very good QPR side. Are they very good?
No,
They played one.
no, at this stage, not very good, I wouldn't say. It was shocking. The tea trolley.
Fuck me, we got China's tea trolley outside.
It was bad. I mean, Charlton is all of a sudden an frustrating, a huge game for the club, isn't it? If we put another bad performance against them, it's going to be horrendous. It's going to be awful.
I've got a funny comment here, and it's funny because I remember being in this situation last year. Matt Thorne, Norwich lost 4 of their 6 opening fixtures last season. Are we jumping the gun? Listen, I remember sitting here last season and saying Fulham lost 10 of their 11 games, and they went up. Listen, we can't go off other teams' records and other teams' eventual success. This is us.
Yeah, it's not just the result here; it's the performance. If there was like slight hints that we performed well, we're unlucky, fine, I'd get that point. But the performance does not look like a team that's going anywhere.
A lot of people also saying about the booing for Afobe was ridiculous. We agree. It won't help at all. The fans are stupid, says Lewis Newton. I agree with that. You should not be booing at this stage in the season or jeering your own player, really. Alex Bennett says, still think we'll get playoffs.
Is that a question or is that
a question? I do. I think if we make a few signings or so, players sort of bed in with this formation. I'm not getting pessimistic yet. I'm still hoping something can come of this season. London Roadman says, do you think Jones will still be our manager by May?
I don't know. I'm going to say yeah, because he's going to turn it round. We'll be on the promotion parade at that point, so it's fine.
Jay Corden says, at 15, says, I believe Bojan leaving is a good thing. Do you agree or disagree? Yeah, it's a good thing because it just divides the fan base at the minute, and his time seems to be up. I still think he could have if Nathan Jones wanted him. I still think there's a place for him and at the top of that diamond with everything that I've ever seen from that guy in that position. But he's gone now, and I'm not bitter about it.
I think it had to happen, really. I was kind of sick of the whole kind of saga with Bojan. Nothing against him personally, but I just think we need to move on from that thing because it was annoying.
Finley Heppelstone says, Elliot, we've seen you play for XO. Get up top for Stoke, please. Listen, send a contract my way. A few grand a week, I will take it. Is there any more left? I don't think there is.
What do you eat?
What do you eat on an oatcake? Says E Maddox. I think we've done this before.
Cheese and beans.
Stoke fans are obsessed with oatcakes. Do you think?
Yeah, they are nice, aren't they?
I know, but like every time we play a side, it's like, have they had an oatcake yet? Have they had an oatcake yet? We are Stoke 747. How do you think we'll get on in League One next season? Don't be daft. I think that's about it for the questions. Positive as ever.
Positive 0 out of 10 there, wasn't it? Well, there's one bloke was like, we'll be fine, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Other than that, it was bad, wasn't it?
But let's go into it. This weekend is Charlton
Massive
away.
Game.
They had a big win against Blackburn.
Yeah, they did.
Opening
Very
day
good,
of the
very good
season.
victory.
Blackburn, who everyone was expecting, fucking hell team, man. Blackburn, who everyone was expecting to roll over Charlton. I think they were pretty odds on at home to win that game, but they didn't. Charlton beat them 2-1, and we now go to the Valley.
I'm worried.
I'm a bit worried.
I'm worried. I think basically you're getting two contrasting kind of personalities, if that's the right term, collectively. Stoke feels down here a little bit. Charlton would be absolutely
just come off
flying,
just come
buzzing,
off that
motivation,
away from
momentum.
home.
I'm really worried. I don't want to quote what I think the result's going to be. I'm just going to say I'm a little bit worried, okay. But I hope I'm massively wrong here and we pull it out. And I do think you're right. I do genuinely think being away from home will be it's probably a little bit light relief at the moment for us.
Well, that's gone off the same. There we go. It is an interesting one, so to say. Do you stick with the diamond?
I don't know. I really don't know. I can't ignore how poor it looked on Saturday. I don't know. I'm just going to jump on the fence here. I'm not sure.
I'm willing to give it a little more time. Hopefully, Etebo's back, although it's not looking likely at the moment. Hopefully, a new signing or two. I'm willing to stick with it for a little bit.
It depends if Etebo's back. I think if Etebo is back, he does make some sort of difference that time. The problem with it is, I think for your two central midfield players in the Diamonds, they've got to be. I think the biggest strength they've got to have is energy, speed, and strength. Because I think your main thing really is to basically win turnover possession quickly. That isn't Clucas and Allen. Allen is awful at tackling. I think that's his biggest weakness, to be honest. He just, every time he goes in for a 50-50, he always loses out. I think his strength is buzzing around the opposition box, not sitting in midfield trying to break up the play and turn over possession. I couldn't think of two worse players in our squad to play in that central midfield than Clucas and Allen. They're just not suited for it at all. At all.
Hopefully it changes then. This Saturday, Charlton, away from home. You going?
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah, I'm looking excited because it's Stoke, it's on a Saturday, it's 3 o'clock, it's still a good laugh.
It's literally across the water, across the Thames from where I live, so I could swim to it.
Could you? Annoyingly, I'm actually in the north for a wedding the day before.
Oh dear.
So even though I live in London, I'm actually in the north.
You've got to travel
I've got to travel down.
There we go. Unlucky Craig.
Yeah.
So we will see you at Charlton maybe. That has been the Bear Pit Pod. Make sure you listen, like, wherever. YouTube, SoundCloud, iCast, Spotify. There's probably another button. But that has been the Bear Pit Pod. Thank you very much for listening. See you later.